Morning guys, welcome back from vacation. I thought I'd do a quick follow-up video on this golf cart. We installed that 36 volt lithium iron phosphate battery from Temgot about a month ago, and show you it's completed and give you my thoughts about it and how it's performed. Now, when I left off the video, the battery was installed. I had talked about adding solar panels to the roof, and as you can see, I have solar panels on the roof there. I went with 3 100-watt panels, very similar to that utility cart that I did for a customer a while back. And I used the same 2020 extruded aluminum to make the array mount right there on top of the roof. Now, while it might look a little bit janky, I do like that it does have an air gap in between, and that aluminum has been holding up quite a bit right there, and it's been keeping the battery fully charged, sitting out here in the sun without an issue. My biggest regret is that I didn't buy any lengths that were long enough to go all the way across, and I had to seam them in the middle right there. And so you can see it does have a little bit of a hitch to its giddy up there. Yeah, the lengths I got were just a little too short, about a foot to reach all the way across, but that would have been a better choice. Otherwise, it's performed very well in the sense that it hasn't broken or gotten loose. These mounts have worked out perfectly just to screw into the side right there, right into the aluminum. And then I split one in half in order to split the difference, because I added that support right here in the middle, using the same extruded 2020 aluminum, and I just riveted to the frame that went all the way around. The front is going through the bolt that actually goes to the frame here. And in the back here, I just added 3 self-tapping screws into the frame over the top. So that has actually held up pretty well. What I did like was on the other side, I didn't know how to route the wires so that when you're getting in and out, this is the obvious handhold for a golf cart. And if you're gonna grab where the wires are gonna be, they're gonna damage the wires over time. And then of course, dangling it, I didn't want to put a hole in the roof because eventually water will get in there, and then you're just gonna have water that will just go straight down into the compartment, or the passenger compartment right there. So what I ended up coming up with was adding a just a cable clamp support, some simple zip ties, and I drilled a hole through that 1-inch or that square tubing at the top and at the bottom right there. And so then I was able to just feed the cable all the way down into here. And down here we can see that I made my way into the Bose RV MPP charge controller, that same one that I used on that utility cart. It's been working flawlessly for me too. It does have Bluetooth connectivity on it, which has been pretty nice. And I think you guys saw the rest of this install with the 36 volt to 12 volt converter down there, and that's just overcurrent protection. Over on the other side, I did talk about trying to figure out how to make that charger with a nice connection that would work and make sense for the owner of this golf cart. Now, in the previous video, I showed the installation of the charger that came with the battery, that it uses just a standard 120 volt 15 amp plug. And at the time when I made the video, I just put this cover on there and kind of fed it out. You could plug in the extension cord, but I didn't really like that, and I had alluded to having a solution. So I did go to our favorite online supplier, and I found the 110 bulkhead adapter that I was talking about. So I do still have this cover, this weatherproof cover over the top of it, but there's a bulkhead connector right here, very similar to what I did on my teardrop trailer, which just has a little flip up flap right there. So this is actually less weatherproof from Marine Co. than the one I ended up going with, especially with this cover on there. I did have to modify the flange of it just a little bit in order to fit inside this great big opening right here from the Leviton weatherproof door right there. And then if we look on the back side, unlike that Marine Co. one, this one wasn't something you could hardwire. The whole thing is molded and already has the plug built into it. So really all I needed to do was plug in the battery charger right here, secure the harness, or secure it just a little bit. And now whenever you want to charge it up, just get a standard extension cord and you would just plug it in, just that simple. And then you just plug the other side into a 110 outlet at anybody's house or campground, and you will start charging the battery. Of course, this battery is fully charged right now. I do like this feature because you don't need any sort of proprietary plug right there. You don't have to drag the charger in the back and lose all that cargo space anymore down there. And so basically anybody's house is going to have an extension cord, so you can get this golf cart charged up anywhere you're at. You don't even have to bring the extension cord with you. But of course, with the solar panel on the roof, I doubt we'll ever even need this down here. However, it is a very nice feature that Temgot does send a 120 battery charger that mounts so easily out of the way, and it's very compact. It comes with the battery, so that's a nice value to get already. And if you followed along, you know I installed a 48-volt battery in my mom's golf cart with the battery charger that I didn't figure this part out with yet, and I'm probably going to add that to her golf cart down the road. I'll put a link to that little bulkhead connection in the description below. Now, what I'm sure a lot of people might be interested in knowing is about the performance of the solar panel driving on uneven terrain, if it rocks around a lot. I did mount it fairly securely, so if the golf cart can handle it and the roof can handle it, the solar panels are doing a pretty good job too. In hindsight, could I have maybe got one more panel on the back for 400 watts? I think if I would have got 220 a little bit longer, I could have got one more panel up there, which would have done a lot of addition to giving a lot more range and faster charging on this, and maybe even added a little bit more shade protection for the passengers in the back. It's hit and miss. I know some people might say I should have just got a flexible solar panel that went on the roof. Those aren't as common when it comes to sizing, so it's difficult to find one that would fit at least two of them on there. And because they do get very hot, I was still afraid that this ABS plastic was going to get melted by those panels being exposed to the heat, absorbing all that heat. And when it comes to failed solar panels, it's the flexible ones that I seem to find fail more than anything. Now, if I was a golf cart manufacturer, I might come up with a solar panel built into a roof as an add-on kit really easily. It's something I would imagine there'd be a big market for. But having this big gap in between allows the panels to stay cool, and it keeps the roof from getting quite hot, because the panels do get very hot. And the passengers' heads are going to be very close to the roof too, so it's nice not to have to worry about this getting superheated from the solar panels. Now, one of the other things that I did a little bit different on this one than I did on that utility cart is I added these brackets as support for the T connection. I didn't add any on the back, and maybe I should have added some on the back, and then I added some inside framing or inside corner braces to try those out too. I still have the outside ones just like on that utility cart too. I do like how with that space I'm able to just use those home solar panel clips for the cables. Very easy to route everything. But these three panels are in series because I wanted to get up to the higher voltages that we're going to need for that battery, for that charge controller. Now, this is an open current circuit of about 22 volts. So all three put together, that's about 66 volts, which this Bose RV MPP charge controller is not having a problem accepting at all. Like I said in that previous video with that utility cart I built, 36 volts, a very uncommon photovoltaic voltages. So there's not a lot of charge controllers that I trust out there for 36 volt. This one's been performing pretty well. Let's do a quick drive. We'll take a look at the solar panels as they're going. That way you guys don't have to take my word for it that the panels are doing a good job up on top of there. And then I'll point out at least one other thing that I don't really like about this setup. I'll try to find some rough terrain so you know I'm not making it up. Now, obviously this is not an off-road capable golf cart, but some golf courses can be a little bit hilly and bumpy, so we got to give it a good test. And I have already driven it about half a mile, and we're at 100% still. pretty good jump. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty compelling test. Most campgrounds and golf courses won't have much more rough roads than that. And as a golf cart driver and operator, you should probably not be driving quite so recklessly like that anyways. Now you should be able to see it's a nice, bright, sunny day today. So we're getting really good performance out of the solar panels. And if we would have had that one more panel I was talking about for 400 watts, I think it would be a pretty compelling case to say you could almost get anywhere you wanted to go without using any battery power the entire sunny day. Because I've been off having fun in the desert, testing this thing out, and the drive from my shop out to the desert, it's a pretty substantial drive, so we're well over a mile into this trip now. My buddy wants to race. Now, like I tell everybody, it doesn't help with top speed, but it should help with acceleration. Now look at that lead. If that's not the best indicator of how much better these batteries are, I don't know what would be.
Question on that.
What do you think? Do we go back?
I think you got me.
We got to race back. You know, you have to do 2 passes to make a claim.
You have to give me a head start on
Oh, how about this one? You can drive this one, and I'll drive that one. That way.
You can even say go.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh! Oh, what was the hesitation? What was that hesitation? You're trying to make me look bad. Oh, there, you don't even have to try to make me look bad. Oh, jeez. My foot's all the way down. Thanks for slowing down for me. What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Better acceleration?
Some good pop to it.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Are we going back?
Yeah, we'll go back.
Okay. All right. You're gonna catch me. You give me a chance to give you a lead. Bye. Bye. Well, thanks for the impromptu golf cart drag racing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Definitely got a lot of pop on this.
Well, I don't think of the solar panels so much as the higher voltage from the battery, and of course the weight reduction from not having the lead acid batteries. You know, with solar panels, unless they're completely like got mud covering them,
Yeah.
this little bit of dust doesn't have any effect with them whatsoever.
Yeah, I got you. That's a nice setup.
Yeah, not too bad,
Yeah, I like it.
especially for off-grid sort of setups.
Yeah, absolutely. I like your suspension too. It's a lot stiffer than ours.
Well, you guys have 300 pounds of extra battery in it.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's the only difference.
Yeah, that could be.
That could be it. All right.
Very nice, James.
Thank you. All right, now we've had all sorts of fun drag racing and enjoying ourselves. Driving all over town. So right now I have a position. I'm not completely due south, but I am pointing at the sun, I guess, as much as I can on a November day. So we're charging at about 4.2 amps. And it says our battery's at 96%. I can estimate we put about 2.5 miles on this cart in the time I've been driving around. And I've been accelerating pretty hard too. Let me go ahead and get away from that loud forklift and show you the problem. Now, I did reach out to Temgot before I installed this whole setup, and they assured me that solar charging this battery would not be a bad thing. But what I did find was maybe a failure in my installation or a failure in the logic of the battery, or maybe a combination of the two. Now remember, I installed this battery disconnect right up here, which connects to the harness, which goes to the battery right there, because it does have its own disconnect switch right here. But what I have found is, because this is putting out power, because it's in the sun, if I go to turn off the battery, Just hold it for 5 seconds. It doesn't turn off. That goes for the battery disconnect right here too. So because the charge controller right here from Bouge RV is providing power to this battery, the battery logic doesn't actually kick off. I think the contact does kick off, so the solar or the cells are disconnected from the terminals here, but because it sees power right here on the BMS on the unswitched side, the disconnect doesn't actually disconnect the light. So this battery should be disconnected right now, but if I accelerate, it's definitely not disconnected, putting out 140 amps. Now if I go down here and I disconnect this MPP, or this charge controller with the MC4 connector right there, so now it can't be making power to the battery. I can push and hold this button. And it turns off. So even the indicator on the battery is off there. But check this out. The contacts on the battery are disconnected. Now if I connect this back up again, because I'm obviously in sunlight right here, the charge controller is going to start making power. And that light turned back on again, and it says it's putting out about 3.5 amps to the battery. Of course, the battery is disconnected, and I know that because if I get inside and I tried to drive, and I put my foot all the way down, look at that. I lost all power because the solar charge controller can't power this that kind of run. So we lost solar power. Now once it starts making power again, it will turn back on. Now I think maybe if I went really slow, maybe if I had that one more 100-watt panel in the back for 400 watts of power, we might be able to creep along really slow. Because as it is, if I put the foot down, I do get some good acceleration until it pops out. But that's about as far as I can go on solar power until it dies. So now if I go ahead and push and hold this down again, it doesn't reconnect the battery. I have to come back here because the battery BMS is seeing power. It's not trying to hit the contacts together. Now if I disconnect that, okay. Alright, so now we don't have battery power there anymore once we've let off all that extra power. Push and hold it for about 3 seconds. Now the battery is connected, and now I can go ahead and accelerate again. So I think part of the problem is my fault because I don't have a disconnect for the battery or for the charge controller. But I'm not going to accept all responsibility for it because I think that's also a little bit of a bad design from Temgot on their BMS system. Not to be able to disconnect the battery if it's seeing charge voltage from it. But other than that, I've been very pleased with the performance of this. I think the owner is going to be very pleased with it too. I've been testing at the solar panel to make sure it's not going to fall apart on them. Oh, there's one more thing I did want to show you guys. Because I'm not very good with brain power when it comes to pre-planning everything. Sometimes I wouldn't add enough nuts or captured nuts in this 2020. But if I just widen up a little hole right there, you can slide a nut in there. So you don't have to take the whole thing all apart again just to slide in the nuts that would be captured in the rail right there. So to the few commenters out there that were interested in a follow-up video on this 36-volt golf cart battery update with the solar panel installed and all the other updates, I think I did a pretty good job of showing you what I liked and what I didn't like. I really don't understand why this is not an option for most golf carts out there. It seems like a no-brainer to me. I just wish the battery would turn off I'll check with the owner to see if they care about that. But that's also from Temgot. Maybe another battery wouldn't have that problem, but I assume they will since they all use very similar BMS systems out there. But if you're interested in building a solar paneled golf cart, I hope this video helped out a little bit. It's something I would easily recommend. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye. Now, you may not believe me, but the last video I made was about an hour ago. And I parked the golf cart right here, heading due south. And we're at 99% now. So in an hour, we went from 95% back up to 99%. Which is pretty much how you'd be using it at a campground or a golf cart. But that was the but there's a follow-up to that 36 volt but there's a